Hi, I'm Mr. Milton, and today we're going to be talking about the Industrial Revolution, specifically urbanization, which is very exciting. So get your stuff ready and let's go. Urbanization is the growth of cities and the migration of people to them. We're going to watch this little thing. There's the Pac Man guy, and look, he's eating up all this space and getting bigger. And really, that's what you see with cities. They're going to change the landscape of society because they're going to be eating up, all the places where there was not city before, or where they grew stuff. Um, and so that's the development of the cities. But we'll get a little bit more into it. But before we do that, here's a question: what were the push or pull factors and pull factors that led to urbanization? Go ahead, pause me, and write a couple things down. I'm sure you remember the agricultural revolution, where the farmers were pushed out. So go ahead and think of some more things. I'm assuming that you're pausing me, which is great if you did. If you didn't, well, make sure you're able to have a conversation about this next time I see you. So when we have cities were developing at such a rapid rate that there really was no time for planning them out. As we saw in the urbanization game the other day, cities were kind of haphazardly done at first, particularly in London, because that was the first big city, or in England, where we have the first major cities pop up. And so there's really going to be no planning that goes into them, and so it might seem a little bit chaotic. Um, Now, New York, on the other hand, this is a case where while it was an early city, it's a city that will be destroyed by fire, which is terrible. And you actually find that there's going to be a lot of fires in cities, particularly because of the what they're using to make them, and the fact that they're so close to each other and there's not much ventilation. Some of these are going to go up pretty fast and pretty deadly. You probably remember the Great Chicago Fire, when I know the story is that the cow knocked over the lantern and it caused a fire. It's not necessarily true. It just happened to do because of the poor planning in the city. Everything was close to each other, not ventilation, and there really was no fire department. So none of these things are available. They don't actually have a job where someone sits around and plans a city like there is today. Today, New York is actually a pretty decently planned city. Everything is very much in blocks, and you always know where you are because it's simple to navigate. Um, Yeah, but other cities are not so much because they are not planned. There was a population boom in Britain that we talked about haphazardly, but we didn't actually talk the digits, and I want to get these to you. In 1750, there were 6 million people living in Britain. In 1800, 9 million people. That is what half. It not doubled in size. It 0.5 in size. Someone's going to get me on the numbers in that, and then they're going to mock me, and I apologize. But that's a pretty decent jump there. And then between 1800 and 1850, you have 21 million people living in Britain. That's huge. That's gigantic. This is when we talked about the mushrooming population due to the agricultural revolution. This is what's happening to Britain. And so where they're going to go where there are jobs. They're going to go to the cities. In 1700s, 80% of the Brits lived in rural areas. By 1851, more than half of them lived in cities. And in 1901, 75% of Brits lived in cities. That's a huge shift. Again, we talked about the Industrial Revolution and how it totally transforms society. This completely does. It changes where people live and what they do for a living. In addition, between 1850 and 1800, cities with population over 100,000 grow from 22 to 47. So we see some giant leaps, well, in general. You'll find that different cities will specialize in different types of manufacturing. And here's my question to you, which I imagine you'll answer in your notebook. Why might cities specialize? Go ahead and answer it. I imagine you thought, you paused me, and you did a good job. Industrialization over time, just so you can kind of see how things change, both with technology and with the input. With the what they would be able to produce. In 1760, Britain imported 2.5 million pounds of raw cotton and processed it all by hand. 2.5 million pounds. It sounds like a lot. 1787, Britain imported 22 million pounds of raw cotton and processed it mostly by machines fueled by water power. 2.5 to 22 million. By 1840, Britain was importing 366 million pounds of raw cotton and processing it with machines fueled by steam power. This is huge, to put it lightly. Here's a bit of a population shift. I know we saw something like this earlier. You're actually playing around with this in an activity which I've left. So make sure you do that, and you'll be playing with this a little bit, more closely. Now, what problems do you foresee happening with these rapid developments in cities? Again, some cities doubled or quadrupled. What challenges do you see arising? Take a minute, write some stuff down. Nice. So on Monday, we're going to be talking about exactly those. We'll be talking about working conditions, class struggles, disease, and death. It's going to be dark, and I apologize for that. So we may also discuss puppies at some point. This, of course, is Jasper Zaphod, dressed very dapperly in a tie like he sometimes enjoys to have. So listen, that's it. Hopefully you took some decent notes, you did some good thinking, and we will talk later. Have a good day.